Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you in another video. Alright, so I've calmed down dramatically after that horrible, heartbreaking Laker loss. I'm a more zen version of myself at this moment, and we'll see as I start to reflect on what the Lakers unfortunately allowed to take place. If that will remain that way. But LA, man, we are in a space where I really believe our team may have just put themselves in a position where they're going to need to lean on Anthony Davis in a way that isn't probably the best for him. And now, depending on how quickly LeBron James can get back, um, I don't know what the Lakers' plans are in regards to how they're going to approach these next 11 games. But tonight, we had a lot of issues, and I think one of the biggest issues we had was Anthony Davis kind of just not being with us tonight 100%. Like I said, 70%. And as I reflected on it a little further after giving my last Laker video a full listen, I really believe that when LeBron James said whatever he said to him, it kind of shook him loose a little bit. And I just don't know where Anthony Davis is with how just things are going in regards to this team. And I'm not trying to insert anything that isn't there, but I just been thinking about Anthony Davis as it pertains to him being elsewhere. And I just think that just like a lot of other players who leave this organization, he may flourish in ways that we will be very disappointed once he leaves. If for no other reason than to just be free of some of this crap, honestly, that this organization is doing right now, man. And just overall the pressure of having to play under LeBron James in these circumstances, particularly. It's kind of tough to listen to somebody speak to you, whatever way LeBron was, when he's not there. But you don't really have a leg to stand on because for a good portion of the season, you weren't there. So it's just a conundrum that guys don't really know how to, from my perspective. This is just me talking. It's just a hard space to stand on because you want to hold people accountable for the circumstances. And reality is, it's really no one's fault. I think what we're seeing, though, is just an overall situation that appears to have run its course. And the writing is on the wall. And tonight's game, I think, was a very, very telltale sign of that. Um, it's not gonna stay this way, Laker fans. That's all I'm saying. I'm pretty certain. I'm pretty certain. Um, and maybe that's a good thing because guys are not able to stay on the floor, man. And I'm a huge fan of Anthony Davis and LeBron James. But we all have to agree that the Los Angeles Lakers are not necessarily putting them in the best position to close out this season. I do like the trades that we've made. And I do like Darvin Ham for our future if he can start making some better decisions, some more common sense decisions. My opinion is starting to fluctuate there, but I like the idea of having a rookie coach and having that coach grow within our organization. And we hired a rookie coach, is essentially what I'm saying. But does that really work for winning the championship right now? And when you hire that coach, don't you want to win a championship right now? Should you not hire that coach for another timeline? And maybe bring him in as an assistant coach and groom him along the way for that purpose so that he can get the time that he needs in your system and hopefully grow within that system in a way that allows him to not make some of these rookie mistakes that we're seeing right now. Because he's obviously not the guy for the job. But I'd love the fact that he would be in the locker room. So, like we did with Frank Vogel, as I've said many times, maybe surrounding him with some veteran coaches as his assistants, or maybe one as a senior and have him be the assistant, would just have made a little more sense right now in this stage. Because you cannot win this way with him making the type of mistakes that he's making and with the roster being so fragile. with the stars not being in a position to stay on the floor. And it's not necessarily something that's a reflection of age or health, injury proneness necessarily, but you have to take the history into account. You have to take their age into account and the mileage. And so that's what it really comes down to. And I think Anthony Davis would benefit greatly from just being a bit more aggressive. Um, because when you are out of the lineup as much as he is, when you come back, you have to give us your all, or the passiveness is also going to be compounded with the absences of your injuries. So it's like we get less of you even when you're there. And that's not enough. It's just not. And I'm not saying that as a spoiled Laker fan. I'm saying that as somebody who's 3 games under 500. You know what I mean? Like literally. And really, I never prided myself as being a spoiled Laker fan. I'm a spoiled person in life as a single child in the household, but not a spoiled Laker fan. I always tried to be a humble Laker fan because I didn't start my Laker journey winning. I started my Laker journey with a solid team that was probably, around this kind of level. We had Eddie Jones and Nick Van Exel and Anthony Peeler. That was the team that I started becoming a diehard, and we just so happened to turn into a big-time dynasty during that journey when I was growing to love the team. So for me, I never looked at myself as a guy who started off with championships, who grew into Lakerdom, with Magic and all those guys, because I missed it. That wasn't my thing. But because I came in during the time we were losing, I was able to enjoy the rise of a journey from just starting off not being any good at all, really, with respect to our guys. We weren't really any good. And to see the rise and to see the journey over a course of years and years and years, I know what it takes to win. And I think the people in place, they may not know what it takes to win. And so, with the timeline being so short and our players being in their respective situations, I don't know if they want to go forward with us. And I'm pretty certain that Genie's ready to move on. It seemed that way for a while. And I think them not being willing to put another center on this team is just a reflection and a signaling to me that is the case. That they're not willing to input even the slightest much more to help LeBron James and Anthony Davis win this championship. I think it's misguided in nature. I think it's just a bad reflection of one's own position. I think when you consider there are a lot of other ways to sever a situation, but you certainly don't want to risk other players' situations to do so. So I think it speaks to a short-sightedness within the organization, and I just don't think I don't think LeBron James should be the one that should have to leave right now based on what it is I've been able to see. But because of the circumstance that he can't seem to stay on the floor, for which I'm going to be honest about, I want a more durable core. If we're going to divvy out $200 million to players, it's not about how talented, how great they've been. It's about how great they're going to be for us going forward. And while I know LeBron James healthy, he's going to dominate the field. He's already proven that. And he may be able to do this for another 7 or 8 years because his genetics is possible. But what we're dealing with doesn't allow us the ability to look forward and see that. We can't see that. Now what we see is yet another season, which is compiled on with maybe 4 seasons of straight injuries. We can't sustain, man. And not only that, but this front office, I'm not sure I want them to move forward with this, even when LeBron James moves on, because the decisions that they're making aren't very wise. And I don't know that whatever they're going to do next is going to make any sense without LeBron James. But at the end of the day, when you're in this era, if you really want to compete for championships, The players that you have into your core have to be able to stay on the floor. You cannot build around two players that have this situation take place every single year. However it plays out, when you are intentional about building a champion, then you must build correctly. And so that's where we're at. I think we built this thing incorrectly from the beginning. I think we fixed it to a degree, but we still have moves to make, because we have got to make sure that the players that we have making the most money are able to stay on the floor and have upside that can give us a future. So if something goes wrong with them, we can retrade them, etc. And I think we have players that can do that. But Anthony Davis, if he has the wrong injury and he retires, that is dissipated value that will crush your franchise for years. And I'm telling you that right now. If they give him some diagnosis that tells you, it's over, you're crushed. So if you can trade something for him, if you can trade him before, or hopefully nothing like that ever happens, but if you can trade him with the understanding that you're doing it with that type of risk in mind, you will have peace of mind when doing it. Because at the end of the day, he's an amazing player. But some of these injuries that he's taken on have been a little strange to me. And I'm just wondering if it's not wise to get out from under that situation. And this is coming from somebody who really does like the player. Regardless of what happened tonight, that's not the thing, man. It's all about my perception of what I think could be potentially concerning. And we went through Bynum already. We already went through that. And I'm telling you, a lot of people didn't see nothing wrong with that, because we ended up trading Bynum right before it went completely bad. But I saw what happened to Philly. And they paid him big, and boom, nothing left. Nothing. Not absolutely nothing. Dissipated value. And so what I'm saying is, no. I don't have that in mind. I'm praying against that in regards to my spirit. I don't want nothing like that to happen to Anthony Davis. But as somebody who's thinking as an owner of a basketball team who wants to win and dominate, that cannot be a concern. Nope. Now when you have too many other superstars that you can weigh that against, it just doesn't make any sense. And even if they're not as good as him, you have to understand that if he goes away, you got nothing. You know what I mean? And that's my concern with AD. A lot of people are saying, that doesn't make any sense. He's still 30 years old. I can hear the argument in that regard. And look, that makes sense, because like I said, I believe as soon as he goes somewhere else, gets in the right situation, he can dominate. He can really dominate. And if he doesn't have any health issues, great. He can be a part of something really special. But my thing is, it's hard to see that here. Why? Front office, honestly. The stuff that they're doing. Why? They haven't made certain changes. I don't know, but this whole thing, not putting the center on the floor for Houston, it spoke to everything to me that they still don't have it all together in regards to giving Anthony and LeBron what they need. And so I've been patient in regards to speaking on that, because I'm like, all right, maybe what I'm seeing makes sense. Maybe they're going to get it somebody in the last minute. Maybe they're going to call somebody up. And then the Houston game comes and nothing. And I'm like, okay. And then, of course, you have to sit Anthony Davis. Another thing that just doesn't sit right with me. It's probably why he didn't play as well. Why is he taking on so much brunt of a decision that the Lakers made? I know that the Lakers have told everybody that it wasn't their decision, but he's still getting the blowback from that. And I'm pretty certain that's why he didn't play well tonight. I'm pretty certain. It was a misread that was going on down there. They said he was supposed to take Maxi Kleber on the 3. I wasn't watching with my third eye tonight. I was just a fan. Honestly, I have to watch that play again to really know what happened there. But listening to other people's commentary, it just sounded like he just misread a bunch of stuff all throughout the closing moments of the game. And so having listened to what they were saying and remembering what I did see in that regard, I just thought it was just him being despondent in regards to really what he's been taking on over the last couple of days about that damn Rockets game. You know, he's already been a guy who's fighting against the injury connotation of injury prone and whether or not he's sitting games and stuff like that long before he even got to LA. It's probably part of the reason why things went left in New Orleans. But nevertheless, I think coming here, he was hoping to win a championship and kind of be able to shake that off. And it's still, when you're here, it's like, nah, you're not as, you got to keep winning championships. We don't care about one. We're trying to get many of them. And so it's like the demand, on top of that, the pressure and whatever comes with it, it reaches a breaking point sometimes. You may lose your will depending on your personality. You may just not really have it like that. And so that's what I'm reading there. Honestly, as a person who watches these things and pays attention to these kind of things, I think he might be just dealing with the pressure of just people saying, "Yo, you didn't want to play in that Rockets game. You quit on the Lakers. You know what I mean? You could have overrode whatever the Lakers were talking about and just get in there and play." And so, in comparing them to Kobe and all that, my thing is, it's unwise. And I've said this already, so I'm not going to go into the whole spiel, but it's not smart for him to do for him. And even if he wanted to do for us, it would be unwise for the Lakers to allow him to do it without punishment. You understand what I'm saying? It's just not smart on all fronts, especially right before the collective bargaining, negotiations, nonsense crap that we won't let anybody forget about because they're very, very important. It could cause a lockout if they don't go right, which is something we need to think about as well when we're not putting centers on the floor. Did you even think about that? Anyway, so as I sit here and assess what it is that we're dealing with, I just say, the Lakers, at the end of the day, they're going to have to find their way to find some type of synergy within the front office that makes some type of modern day basketball sense. That's what it really comes down to. Because until they have a front office management team that functions properly, just simply properly, they're not going to have the faith of the players that they want to attract. Again, we're going through this. Yes, I know the Carmelo Anthony and LaMarcus Aldridge free agency era will be entering our lives again upon LeBron James's exodus because we've been incompetent once again. We've come full circle. Now everybody's laughing at us again, just like that with him here. How did we get to this point, Genie Bus? Please tell me. And that's after we made a great trade. People still laughing at us. When the roster is one of the best in the league, we can't get off the ground against bad teams, against good teams without their best players, and somewhere in between teams as well. I mean, we're losing everybody. All in a flurry of games where we can't afford to lose. You know what I mean? So you got to look at it and say, the core's not healthy. Bron's not happy. AD's not happy. And at the end of the day, if we're going to do right by AD, the probably best thing to do is to get him away from this front office, out of this environment where people are telling him he needs to play and override people and go against doctor's orders so that he can get the second championship. Somewhere where people are just happy to get a championship. Like Chicago, his hometown. And so that's what I've been thinking about. I've really been thinking about that all day long. Like Chicago, I don't want him to go to that organization because they're even more incompetent than our front office, honestly. But it's just the point of him going back home and wanting to lead their team or whatever it could be. Seems just like something he would want. But, for me, it's just like, would he still want this LA Laker situation? Is this right for him when they're not giving him what he needs, when he's getting the pressure from different people, when it's all the media stuff that comes with it? And just ultimately, when it comes down to it, if they really want to not check him in the game, they just won't check him in the game. You can suit up, you put the warm-ups on, tie your shoes up, put the headband on, you can do whatever you want. But the coach will sit you. You will be a DMP, bro. So why are people tripping on him like this? That's what it would really come down to. What you want to do? Get in a fist fight with Darvin Ham? How you think that's going to go? So I'm just asking, I think people need to look at that angle when they're assessing whether or not they want him to play. I would have just played. How would you have done so? How? They have to check you in. And if Darvin checks him in against the Laker organization's will, how do you think that's going to go? Against Anthony Davis's health. Oh, wait. And Anthony Davis gets hurt in that game? How do you think that works for Darvin? I mean, my God, people. And that's what it really comes down to. We got to have a little common sense. When people are selling us nonsense in the media, it can affect our team. It can. I mean, come on. Look at this garbage. And the whole Kyrie Irving thing. The psychology of that nonsense. What did that end up doing to our team? Got beat, man. I don't know. The whole team was probably happy about that win, just especially because of that. You probably put bulletin board material on their entire board. They don't have their best players. Yo, they rejecting Kyrie. Well, how do you think that go in the locker room? You think Maxi Kleber didn't have that in mind when he was shooting the ball? It was probably on everybody's mind. It was probably a motivating factor, other than the fact that they're trying to save their season just like us. And get their superstar player back. Give him something. It's in the same situation. And you just gave him a lifeline. Here, Mark Cuban, one of our most hated owners, rivals, who makes fun of us every time he gets a chance. Here's a win. At our expense. I just do not understand. And like I said, the way the universe works, I spoke on this in the previous video. The way the universe works, you can just see it. Wembanyama with the first overall pick to the Los Angeles Lakers, which now converts to the New Orleans Pelicans. There, B.I. and Zion. Wembanyama is your new teammate. You don't think it can happen? You know, all of us know that they've rigged it. And when I say rigged, I mean this in the most positive way. They've rigged it so that those at the bottom don't have the best odds. I told you guys this maybe 8 months ago. I think Wembanyama's going to probably bounce to one of those teams that have 30 wins. I really believe that. People think it's going to the Spurs, Detroit, Houston. I don't think so. Something in my gut says, nah, it's going to go to one of them other dudes like Orlando, Pacers, Charlotte. It's going to be Washington. It's going to be somebody like that. Watch. I'm telling you, man, it's something. And maybe Washington's not a good example because they might make the play-in tournament. But even if they do make the play-in tournament, if they fall out, can you imagine it goes to one of those teams? Portland? Man, we do not happen to have a worse pick than some of those teams I named. If we continue on the losing path we're on, we won't be the worst of those teams. New Orleans Pelicans, Wembanyama. They win championships from here to whenever. And don't think they won't attract free agents. They will. They're just going to dynasty the thing. I don't even want to think about what happens if they decide to trade that pick and how valuable that could be. It just goes on forever. And it would be a courtesy to the Lakers. It would be Brooklyn all over again. But what they did for the Celtics still benefiting from that nonsense. And what's going on with AD? Y'all ready to trade AD right now. All that value still going to the New Orleans Pelicans. Very fruitful. And so that's my thing about this core. It's like, look, can we do that to somebody else? Can we send Anthony Davis and maybe LeBron James to one of those teams that really, really want to win right now? A Timberwolf-like situation. Where they just want to go all in and for right now, get the revenue off of the situation and be cool. Because that's the best thing I think we can do for ourselves. Get the most we can for the players that we have, man. For the core that we have. And I have respect for LeBron James and never put him on a trade block. So if we can, figure something out. But my thing is this. It don't make no sense to be leaning on him as a number one guy, man. That makes no sense anymore. It just doesn't. And that doesn't mean I don't think he can lead us to this particular championship if he comes back healthy. But we're talking about going into future seasons. This don't make no sense. I'm not going to pretend like it does. It doesn't. I'm cold when it comes to my team. Y'all know that. Y'all know that. And I've been singing this tune for 2 years. So this ain't new. But now that we've seen this get to this point, it could very well get a lot better from here. Don't get it twisted. But I still am not going to change my tune. Because I'm about durability and a future. And while I think our core is giving us a lot of that, I have questions about how much of this core we're actually going to retain. I want to keep all these dudes. Some of them are going to be gone because of this stuff we're talking about. I think we might get our hearts broken in the offseason because some of these dudes are going to get bigger bags. A guy like Austin Reeves, you know how much he's going to be able to get offered from certain teams? The Lakers better get their mind right in regards to him. Because while we're talking about D'Angelo Russell and certain other players, he's going to get offered something. Probably bigger than what you want to give him. Yeah. So, I don't know. The Lakers is a desirable place to be. Wearing his colors can make you a lot of money. But this front office, man, they got to learn how to be competitive in ways that help this basketball team. It can't just be about glitz and glamour and banquets and balls. It can't. It really, really can't be about that, Jimmy. It has to be about excellence in basketball. If it's not, we're betraying everything we're doing here, really. We're just betraying the whole thing. And so right now, as I sit here very, very unhappy as a Laker fan, it's not because we lost a basketball game at the buzzer. It's because of everything that led up to my team not necessarily having that energy that made me think they believed in what they were doing tonight. Players that are some of the best in the world, like Anthony Davis, making reads, simple reads, that he wouldn't have made probably 8 years ago as a third-year player, whatever it would be. I don't think this place is very easy to be in terms of to play for this team. I'll just say, I don't think it's easy to play for this team, and it shouldn't be that difficult. It shouldn't be that difficult. You know, they blame Kobe Bryant. This is what comes back to me. And they blame Kobe. That nobody want to come play with Kobe. Nobody wants to come play with Kobe. But now that we are in a different era, nobody want to come play with Bron. The pressure is Bron. The pressure is Kobe. Is it? Or is the pressure on the front office to get it right? They make bad decisions behind the scenes, thus making it more difficult on the players who then have to perform under the pressure. That is what it's always been, as long as I've seen since Shaq left, basically. Make it hard on the guys because they don't be putting the right stuff around them a lot of times. How we get to that point, I don't know, man. But I know how to get out of it. It's going to take people doing some things differently. And since I've been paying attention all my life, I know what we don't have, and that's new voices. Everybody we use is old, recycled Laker minds. With all due respect, the game has changed. So how does that make sense? If all of our guys are from the past and what we dominated in the past, then how in the heck can we dominate a field that has a whole new calculus to it, so to speak? You gotta bring in some new people so they can tell you what's going on. Not listening to people who know nada about the new times. That is where the Lakers have gone wrong, time and time again. And if you're gonna evolve, and we gotta remember, that's the whole point of this thing, is to evolve. If we're going to evolve, we gotta help ourselves along by allowing some new things in, new people in, new voices in, less voices, most importantly, a singular voice, a president who knows what he's doing or she's doing. I'm open-minded, and I know there are experts out there. We need to find them. We need to empower them. And we need to let them do their job, as I'm saying, so that they can put this team together the right way and get us on the track to glory once again. Because right now, we're not close to 18. We want to be closer. We want to believe in the people that we have here, and it's a beautiful thing if it comes together, right? But the odds is what we're playing. It's basketball. You're playing the percentages. What does it look like? Percentages are bad. We're shooting from 50 feet away. We're shooting from the parking lot. That's what we're looking at right now. And people aren't buying in. I think the front office doesn't buy in right now. They don't believe in it. And then the players aren't getting what they need in regards to, as we're talking about all day, the roster. And then from there, they don't believe. And you see how it goes. And the fans will follow. You know, that's how it goes. So, I don't think the Lakers understand. I think they, like I said, balls and banquets, dancing and enjoying these wonderful times. Statues, banners don't necessarily come with those things. We got to work for those. We got to play basketball and win for those. And so, we can keep on dancing around the old banners and keep on celebrating those, but they're just going to get older and older and older, and other champions are just going to keep piling up more and more trophies. And maybe they don't get too close to us, but eventually they will. Someone will. And over time, maybe a lot of them will. And that's the point. We got to keep our lead. And we got the Boston Celtics. You think they're slowing down? Nah, not really. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown? Not really. So we need to figure it out. I don't think they're too far away from theirs. 18 is not too far away from the Celtics. I think they may get a lead on us again. I hate to tell us that, but I'm going to be the realist on this channel and tell you the Celtics are closer to a championship than we are right now. It's not hard to tell. Maybe they don't get it. That's not the point. Because we should be getting it. With the type of players we got, we should be getting it. A lot of us are believers in the King. I believe in the King. I watched him dominate the league for a long time. You know what I'm saying? And I do believe he will go out there and be glorious again if he gets in the right situation. Heck, that situation could be this one right here. If we can just get our heads out of our backsides. But that's not the point. That's not the point, man. At the end of the day, he does want to play with his son. That's non-negotiable. I don't know where Bronny is going to land. I'm not going to forget about certain things that most people are not talking about just because it's not popular in the media. I don't know where his son's going to land. He looks like he's ascending. He looks like he's getting better, which means it's going to be more difficult to get him. I do believe there's a chance his value could be fluctuating based on the fact that who his father is. It could fluctuate in some very interesting ways. I don't know if he's going to be embraced or given a fair shot or shunned. I don't know. I really don't know, man. But I'll tell you this. He looks like he's going to be a player. So, if he ain't going to land here, Bron's going to where he's going. That's it. So, that's also in the equation when we're considering all of this. Can he stay healthy? Can we be led to the promised land? All the other things on the floor that have to do with him delivering, and the co-star, and the choices of the roster around him if he chooses to make changes. It's like, can we deliver him a championship? Can we put him in a position to get all that he needs so that he can succeed? It will be a lot. It will be a lot. So that's what it is, Lakers. That's what it really comes down to. We don't really have the assets. Even now. Based on this volatility of circumstances. Nah, we don't have those assets yet. I like our players, but we're not quite there yet. We have to develop some people. We have to re-sign some people. They have to get to their best, highest level. There's still a lot of stuff in the balance that is not solidified as we continue to move forward, as these guys continue to go age as they will in our lineup. I'm almost positive it's time to cut the cord on this core. I'm almost positive. I think we all, deep down, I think everybody would agree with me when I say we did it. We did it. We got the championship in 2020. We won, man. Like, literally. However we finish our season this season, we won the championship. We didn't fail. There are going to be a lot of people who are going to judge how this went or how it should go going forward. But we didn't fail. Why? Because it's a lot of teams who are going to say they won't, say a lot about this bubble chip, so to speak. But they were competing for it, and they didn't get it. They all wanted it. They didn't get that championship. We got that one. And that's why it hangs up there. So I think that matters. a great deal more than we're able to see right now while we're dealing with this. Uh, but when you look at the Los Angeles Clippers and you see how their situation is gone and what they're striving for, we can't look at ourselves as a failure. You know what I mean? When they're in the same building, having taunted us this whole time, and still, as of this moment, have yet to win a championship. We have won in that time. They do not. These are the type of things that we got to consider when we're assessing the Los Angeles Lakers and this tenure here and whether or not it's worked out. There's been a lot of lows, but we won a championship. And I think that's enough for me in regards to being satisfied with what happens next. I'm concerned greatly about what happens next. But it's not because I believe necessarily that this is the best thing for us. It's just because I know if we let it go, what we're left with may not be for us either. May not. And that's the most concerning thing as a Laker fan. What are we left with? This front office is not making the greatest decisions. I don't think Jeanie's necessarily ready to embrace new people. I don't even know where we're headed, man. I don't know. I can't even front. I wonder if she's even going to keep the team. When I think about the price tag the thing can go for right now, I don't know. Don't know. And that's just really what it comes down to. It's a family business. I think it means something to her. But it's going to get to a point where people are going to get so nasty about this team. If it continues on this downward trajectory over the next several years, people are going to get so very just nasty, you know, like really, really. It's going to get ugly. Trolls are going to get louder, and fans are just going to become more angry. And so I don't think she likes that energy already, as she's already made it very clear on Twitter how she responds in certain situations. I just think it's going to become too much. I think it's going to become too much. Because you can't possibly be making the type of decisions this team is making and not get that type of energy going forward, especially if they fail and LeBron James' tenure fails and you trade him away. Whew. And you don't retain the type of talent that can get you that far. Oh my God, it's going to be so ugly. It's not going to be fun. And so that's my thing. It's like, you got to make sure who you have in place when he leaves from a front office standpoint makes sense to everybody else, so that you don't be left with what comes with, you know, just leaving things as is, letting him go, and then standing there like you have it all together, ready for another banquet. I'm telling you, it's going to be hell online. And so that's just what I know. I'm certain. And I don't think Jeanie wants that. I don't think her family wants that. At this stage in your life, do you really want that energy? Just because the team wasn't run correctly? Nah, you don't. It's much easier to just do things differently. Hire a little president, bring him in, and let him do the dang job. And if it goes well, great. Keep him however long it makes sense to keep him. 10 years, whatever it is. If it don't make sense, you'll have to replace him, bring in another one. And that's just what it's going to be in the NBA from here on out. Most of the owners, that's all they're going to do. They're just going to hire a president. And those presidents are going to shift around just like in any other business conglomerate. That's how it works. New CEO over here goes that CEO place. This CEO replaces him, goes over there. That's all it's going to be. The presidents are just going to shift around. That's the game. And so if you want to go against the game and have, the knights at the round table, you're just going to fail. The game is set up a certain way. Haven't we learned that through free agency? I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just a guy sitting in his apartment. Half of the stuff I don't even think I got right my own self. But I do have a healthy fear for what's going to cause me to lose. I keep telling y'all. It really does come down to it being competitive and wanting my team to win above all else. And so I've been trying to break down what I think makes sense in regards to seeing us get to those places. And sometimes I'll be scratching and sniffing in the right areas. And you'll see it all documented on the channel. It's all there. And so my thing is this, man. I know I'm right about some of the stuff I'm talking about. Maybe not others, but as it pertains to whether or not she needs a president to run this team, or or else it's gonna be hellfire within, uh, you know, Twitter and all these different platforms. Yeah, that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen, especially if this goes downhill with Braun. Can't do it. It can't happen, especially since she's already said her most important thing was to make him happy. I think he liked the trade, the different trades we made. I think he's pretty happy with those trades. But I don't know. It's not your fault he got hurt, but we do need to make sure that we have enough on this team so that we can win, so that we can get to the playoffs, so he can have his moments. I don't know how happy he can be if we're not in the playoffs. He's LeBron James. How the heck can LeBron James be happy if the Lakers aren't giving him playoff opportunities? I mean, what are we talking about? So that's really what it comes down to, man. I love my team. if it makes any difference, I think everybody should know that I'm not going to be hopping off the bandwagon just because we may be headed downward. But it looks pessimistic, as I've been saying, man. I just don't know if Jeanie is ready to make the changes necessary, just like we said with her bro. But when it was time to run him out of town, she ultimately did that. So I don't know what needs to be done here. I really don't know. But what I can say is leaning on these two guys' health has never really made any sense to me. And as we go forward in time, it's just making less and less sense based on the data. My name is BDR44. I thank you all for watching.